Sam, you're muted if you're talking.
Yep, thank you. I was on mute. So, hey everyone, thanks for joining today. Thank you for letting me know I was muted. I'm Sam Kerr. I'm a principal product manager here at GitLab, focusing on Defend as well as Secure. I have the rest of the Secure team here, so we can answer any sorts of questions or topics you want to go and discuss. The slides are linked in the agenda document if you want to look through those. And we will jump right into the questions on the document. Cindy, you have the first one. Do you want to verbalize that? Not sure if we have Cindy, so I'll read it. So Cindy asked, making vulnerabilities first-class citizens is a big deal. Can you talk about what it will enable? And so this is a great question because vulnerabilities, as Cindy says, are something that we're working on making a first-class object in GitLab. So to answer this today, I think it'd be helpful to talk about where we currently are. So right now, when the different security tools and capabilities inside of GitLab run tests and scans, you will get contextual information and vulnerability results inside merge requests and as part of running pipelines. However, it's not currently possible to link directly to vulnerabilities with, say, a URL, view them as reports in as many ways as you could for things like issues. And so there's really a lot of opportunity for us to make interacting with and managing vulnerabilities really a first-class experience at GitLab above and beyond what we currently do today. And so this is going to enable a few different things for us as an organization and a product, with a few of those being that just by giving our users a better experience, that makes for happier users. But also this is going to allow us to start to link together all of the different security tools, scans, and in the future defend related capabilities in a cohesive single approach that users will know this is how I interact with security findings, security vulnerabilities across the entire platform without having to necessarily learn I do it this way here and this way there. And so this is something we're currently working on pieces of, and you'll see iterations focusing on bringing this into the product.
While we're paused, I'll go ahead and add a little bit more to it, Sam, if you're okay. So one of the things I want to call out is that within Secure, we do have a bit of name collision going on as far as features, because there is something that also exists that's called a vulnerability database. I just want to go ahead and call out that that is not what we're talking about here with first-class vulnerabilities. The vulnerability database is really a reflection of things that we can detect within the various features within the secure the secure space and ultimately with Defend within the secure space. When we talk about first-class vulnerabilities, those are best understood as findings by our products, by our features for our customers. So if you happen to be seeing the word vulnerability thrown around within our documentation or within our feature set, just please keep in mind that there is a bit of there's a name collision going on there to be aware of and to think a little bit more carefully about when you're when interacting with it. Just wanted to call that out as well.
Any other questions, thoughts? Well, while we are waiting for a few more questions to be added to the document, I did want to take a couple minutes to introduce David DeSanto, who is just now joining us today on his first day at GitLab. So David is going to be our new product director on the secure stage. David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. As Sam said, I'm David DeSanto. It is my first day. I think I'm at hour 2, but I'm very much glad to meet all of you. There's a lot of you on the call, so obviously I'll get the opportunity to meet all of you over the next couple of weeks. on the last call, I did a little bit about my background, so I guess I'll just kind of rehash that for the people who weren't on the last call. Joining GitLab brings 13 years of test and measurement to a close for me. Started my time in test and measurement with working at ICSA Labs, followed by NSS Labs, and then the last 5 years I was at a company called Spirent Communications. At Spirent, we focused on building out security test and measurement products. That includes everything from layer 4 through 7 load testing to functional performance security. A couple of things we did at Spirent overlap with what you are all talking about today on this call, and I'm sure we'll talk about over the next couple of weeks, including we built out a protocol fuzzer, a library of attacks and malware, and so forth. At Spirent, I led product management for the security team, ran UX design for the company, as well as ran our threat research team. Prior to test and measurement, I worked in healthcare for a while. If you want to hear horror stories of how insecure healthcare is, you feel free to ping me on Slack. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. I forgot to mention on the last call, I live in Texas, so I'm in the central time zone. But I'm sure you're all located everywhere else, so we can always find time to catch up and chat.
Great, thanks, David. Okay, we'll wait another minute or so, but if there's no questions, we can definitely break early and give everyone 20 minutes back as well. So we'll just wait a minute or two.
Hello, Sam. This is William. I'm on mobile, but I would love if you could just present one of your slides, something that you've, or talk about maybe something the team has accomplished recently that you're excited about, something that is a recent win for the team.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, William. So let me switch to our slides. So I want to talk about one of the things we did in 12.2 that I'm personally really excited about. So let me share my screen. So I'm sharing slide 12 in the deck if you want to follow along on your own screen. But one of the things that we shipped inside of the 12.2 iteration recently was security approvals inside of merge requests. I think this is a really exciting capability for our product. And what this feature is all about is saying that we as a company want to make sure that development is not introducing new vulnerabilities that haven't been reviewed and either remediated or explicitly approved. So when the various SaaS stats, the different scanners run, find vulnerabilities, if they're a high or a critical severity vulnerability, our customers can enable this merge request approval rule where someone from a security team has to say, yes, we can dismiss this vulnerability, accept this into our product and our project going forward. This is a really powerful capability because a lot of organizations, especially ones that are highly regulated, have lots of specific laws they have to comply with. This is going to make their job a lot easier in terms of managing the risk, managing the vulnerability position of their own products. And so this is one thing I think we're going to start seeing a lot more customers, a lot more users using, especially in those more regulated industries. Thanks for the question. So next question also comes from Cindy. Cindy, do you want to verbalize that one?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's fair to say that our strategy around this space is to automate the customer's policies. So their policies typically reflect their appetite for risk, and it's going to vary dramatically from customer to customer. So I'm assuming that what we want to do is make it where we are automating whatever their policy is. So if they want
That's a
to,
great question.
if they want to fail the build, we fail the build. If they want to have 10 approvers, have 10 approvers, whatever their policy is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So at a high level, what our strategy is going to be with respect to a lot of our security approaches is that we want to make sure that security doesn't become a blocker out of the box. You can read more about it in our security policy and some of the guiding principles with what we're thinking and how we're going to be building those products. But definitely to your point about every organization potentially having different requirements, different tolerance for risk, we do want to be able to support those different workflows, those different use cases. And as much as we possibly can, making it so that those are automatable. So if you as a business have a specific risk tolerance, we want to be able to improve and drive the products in such a way that it is supporting those different policies that you want to be implementing in your company without requiring you to, essentially build something on top of GitLab itself.
I have a question about that real quick. So we had a customer in particular that wanted the enforced inclusion in pipelines. How would this be sort of different, and could they sort of accomplish the same requirement that basically they want to ensure that something is done in a pipeline before it's committed?
So your question is if they want to force an inclusion of, say, a different scanner or a different job in the build, how would they be able to do that? Is that your question, John?
Well, it goes with we built the enforced inclusion for them, but it sounds like the goal around enforced inclusion was to ensure that something ran in every pipeline. But this is kind of nice that in the financial services industry, you can actually have something where it's automatically required at a certain level to go and require an approval. Is that correct? In this particular instance, and what you just mentioned on the security approval in 12.2?
I think so, yeah.
I think I can answer that one. So for the approval or the inclusion in the pipeline, that's for including including a security job to ensure a security job is always ran. So security scans always occur. For the approvals, we actually have this set up with a specific severity threshold. So any vulnerabilities that appear that are below a certain threshold, say low severity vulnerabilities, do not require an approval by default. And then anything above a certain threshold do require it. So it actually makes it slightly easier for a security team. Instead of having to approve every merge request, they only have to approve the ones that have high severity vulnerabilities in them. Does that make sense, John?
Yep, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Other thoughts?
I know everyone's not here to look at my pretty face.
Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, we can go ahead and end early, give everyone some time back in their day. Really appreciate you all coming. We will have the recording up on YouTube. It's being live streamed now. And feel free to reach out to any of us on the various Slack channels we're on. It's S_secure, or any of us on the team directly. Really appreciate your time and the discussion. Have a good week, everyone.